I found another thing I could talk about. I'm surprised I didn't think about it sooner, because it's actually a pretty popular item. But today, we're going to be talking about elemental brooms. And you might be asking me, Fury, didn't you already talk about brooms in that 2011 mount video? Well, I did. But the thing is, these brooms are from Halloween 2011, and the elemental brooms are from Halloween 2012. It's the first and only event where they directly copied the model of another mount. I'm not sure if it's because they were lazy, or if because brooms were just really popular at the time. It could really be either, but the important part is, that's what happened. So there's 3 different types of elemental brooms, and they all cost the same. You had fire, which was red, ice, which was blue, and magic, which was pink. And they went from 5 to 75%, and the cost was 10 grand to $1 million. It was the very first event that they did 1 million gold mounts. And an interesting thing about the shop was that it closed off higher tier mounts to people who couldn't afford them, so they couldn't even see the stats, and some people didn't even know they existed. Crazy stuff to think about. Some other stuff on them: the 70 and 75% mounts have unique effects to them, and the 75% versions are bigger than the 70% versions, effect-wise. Those 2 speeds also have a level requirement of 50 on them. And here's the stats of my Divine Fire and Divine Ice Broom. As you can see, they're both 75%, both have 40 rejuve and 50 camo. Back then, these were worth a ton of money, because they were the only mount with camo until the summer 2013 Dragon Stabs. And they also had rejuve on them too. Really OP back then. Not so much anymore, but it's acceptable now. There's also the Divine Magic, which I could show you a picture of that. The effect on that is sparkles, as you can see. Sorry, it's kind of cut off there, but you get the point. There was also another interesting thing, that there was more brooms in the shop at a certain point. Remember the Life and Essence Blade video where they removed items from a shop and replaced them? Well, there was multiple 70% brooms. The one that's most common today is the Majestic Broom, which is just a downgraded version of a Divine, has the rejuve and small camo. But before that, and I think it was a very short time they were sold, I would assume like a week, but I didn't play that event, so I'm not entirely certain. But there was Ebullient Brooms, Bountiful Brooms, and I think other types, but they were very specific and they only had a certain amount of like health regen, like no energy regen. Some had just camo. I think, yeah, Shrouded Broom I think was the camo one. Bountiful was health regen, I think. But yeah, very strange stuff. And they are in live game, but you would have to like win the lottery to ever see one. Alright, well, let's see what these brooms look like in game. So the Fire Broom's pretty styling looking. It has a trail to it, which is really neat. On most worlds, it's the most common one because it's the coolest one. And the effect, you know, fire trail, and it shoots fire bolts out. Now these brooms actually have a pretty fast attack speed, so it's a decent auto weapon. I would only recommend it on a major druid though. Alright, Ice Broom, my personal favorite. It glows blue, has like a little icy effect on the end. And when it shoots is what the old ice shards used to look like. It used to just be like a little speck that flew at the enemy. Nothing like today's equivalent of this. I don't know why they didn't update it. I mean, they updated the fireball. And the Magic Broom just shot like little magic rod attacks, I think. but the effect on these brooms changed over the years. See, it used to look different. As you can see in this picture from 2013, camouflage used to turn you transparent, even if it was on gear. So that made you look kind of weird. And in addition, the glow effect here is different. It's more, subtle and soft, and a bigger effect, I think. And the equivalent today is just all like a light show, real fast. And for fire, you can see that it's a round flame that shoots smoke out. But before, fire used to look triangular, as you could see. And I actually like the triangle fire more, because it was more trolly and more fun to trail around. And lastly, with the purple broom, I don't have one to show you, but the sparks were much bigger back in the day. Today it's just real small. Sparkles in general got nerfed. Now, there's been a bunch of speculation about why. People think that, One Thumb Mobile actually did that on purpose. But what I really think happened is that when they ported the game from the homemade engine to Unity 2014, I think a lot of the old stuff got messed up from that. And it makes sense because it's usually only the old items that occurred to. So just some transition errors. And I'm not sure if the Unity 2018 update did anything, but I would doubt that because that was Unity to Unity, not entirely different engines jumping to each other. Price-wise, on most worlds, people love these brooms. You probably won't find one for under 5 million, at least on Lug. Personally, I wouldn't buy one for usage. It's just a collector's item. It's not really viable anymore today. You could say, the camo's great, but it's only 75% speed. I would rather have speed than camo, because the point of a mount's to get around, not to avoid detection. Because if you have to worry about that, that's a whole nother problem. Anyway, I hope you liked my little video on this. Good items, just overpriced. And let me know what you think.